What's up, everyone? Metallic here, and today we are going to find out if Balan WonderWorld is this game as bad as everyone is making it out to be. For those who haven't looked at any YouTube recommendation upon release, Balan WonderWorld is a platformer from the mind of Yuji Naka, pretty much the driving force behind Sonic the Hedgehog, and also considering the fact that we have a AAA developer like Square Enix who has given us some of the greatest video games of all time behind it. It's gotta be good, right? Right?
Wrong, sir. Wrong!
Before we dive into the video, be sure to hit that like button to show your support, comment down below your experience with this game, and subscribe to see what further torment I put myself through. Alright. Let's begin with the story, or therefore lack of. Balan WonderWorld takes place within the minds of one of two characters, Leo Craig and Emma Cole. Now, the opening cutscenes showcase the two characters having some troubles. For Leo, it's due to an argument with some friends? For Emma, she feels anxiety about what other people are saying behind her back. This game doesn't really tell you flat out, but, Wikipedia sure does. Like, okay, I can see these things being very relatable, but is it enough to make it a part of their backstory to throw them into the case of Balan's WonderWorld? Anyway, moving on, the two kids end up going to a theater with mirrors for days and encounter Balan himself. So Balan decided to take it upon himself, and the best way for the kids to deal with their anger is possibly going to solve the problems of other adults and children who are going through some rough times. And the thing is, the problems that everybody else is going through have not really much connection towards what the kids are going through. Some might be job-related stress, some might be ego faulting. It's a really weird concept. I'm all down with the idea of spreading kindness and helping others, but the way that this is done in this game just felt rather hollow and forced in. Why should I feel emotionally invested in the story when there isn't enough substance for me to feel something? We get some screenshots about what happens to each of the other characters, people in trouble, but aside from that, how do they really interact with Leo or Emma in any real way? Where is the world building? Moving on. Turns out, another Balan-like wonder creature named Lance has been causing trouble for everyone involved, and you will encounter him a few times along the way. After clearing all 12 worlds, you literally get a door of hell summoned in what seems like a perfect world. Fight Lance himself. After using the power of, acquaintances? With Lance seen to be rid of the darkness and all the troubles away from the owners of the 12 chapters, we get to see Balan's true form, and it certainly looks familiar. However, the reunion is cut short when the two protagonists hug Balan, which leads a few tears and bids them farewell, while being sent back to their world, with their troubles no longer being an issue anymore. So I guess the moral of the story is that Balan made them realize that everybody does have issues here from time to time, and then ultimately that by going through and helping out others, their issues no longer seem as big as what they could be. So with the story, I'm sorry, but it really didn't do anything for me. But with most platformers, the story isn't usually the main focus of being something super in-depth themselves that cause universal awakening to some of life's great questions, such as which came first, the chicken or the egg. Like with Mario 64, it's clear that Mario does have an attachment to Princess Peach. Even if you never played the previous Mario installments, the game opens up with the letter of Princess Peach awarding Mario with a cake. Cool, we get that. There's some kind of emotional connection there. With Balan WonderWorld, though, between Leo and Emma and everybody else involved, between the owners of the 12 chapters of Balan, there's really no substance. Again, there may have been a book that kind of goes into it, but, we're going to play the game as it is. We're not going to go into other media just to get the full picture. Alright, so everybody's been waiting for this. Is Balan WonderWorld a bad game? Well, let's discuss. First, I want to do what May thought may be impossible, and start with what's actually good about Balan WonderWorld. Besides being a sturdy coaster for about 20 bucks, Balan WonderWorld's presentation right from the start is pretty captivating. The moments that the game opens up are full of polish, wonder, and dynamics that really get you hyped for the game. Personally, after playing this game and seeing it to be on a flare, I would think that this would have been more successful in an anime or a manga rather than a full-fledged video game. However, once you move past the opening cutscene and start into the gameplay, the true colors show how much quality is here. However, to start off the game with an amazing opening movie to build up hype, only to unload us with a gameplay style from the early years of gaming is a terrible bait and switch tactic. Like, the fact that smoke and mirrors are a thing, it causes a huge distance from expectations versus reality when you get into it. Like, imagining ordering a Big Mac, and you get this. Another thing that pleasantly surprised me is about how much more polished the final product was. I was actually playing the demo back when it first released on both PS4 and Nintendo Switch, and I gotta say, I was really starting to get worried about this game, that it'd be a total dumpster fire. However, any and all tech problems I had with the demos were gone. The game ran fine, I have no complaints on it from an operational standpoint while playing the PlayStation 5 version, except for the gameplay was disappointing and boring. I will admit, I did find something else I enjoyed about this game, and that's breaking it. So what I mean by breaking it is, now, this is a 3D platformer with 80 different costumes that the developers want you to use throughout the whole journey to see how well they turn 15 abilities into 80 different costumes. Well, throw them out the window and let me introduce you to probably my favorite costume. It's Frost Fairy. This costume literally allows you to walk on air for a respectable amount of distance, not only distance-wise, but also allows you to gain more elevation, essentially allowing you to skip over obstacles, enemy, and even some mini-bosses. And beating a game in a way that directly wasn't intended by the developers, and ultimately still not having a good time trying to play this game as intended, I don't know, to me it just feels pretty satisfying, and thankfully, you could do that because there's a lot of problems with this game.
Welcome to Metallic's Roast of Balan WonderWorld. Now this is all for good fun, and I'm not dissing the hard work the developers put into this game. Just my thoughts, and I'm sure you will find this all very entertaining.
Now, the biggest flaw of Balan WonderWorld is the gameplay itself. This is 2021. Why does Balan WonderWorld, being a 3D platformer, why is each costume dedicated to just generally one action? This is a terrible concept. Think of it this way. A lot of the buttons on your controller only have one action besides R1 and L1 to switch costumes if you have any on hand. There are actually a lot of costumes in this game that remove your ability to jump. Like, how can you do that in good faith? Sure, you can swap out between the different choices of your costumes, but only if you have a costume with you on hand. But why do I have to do that for a 3D platformer? Just so I can jump. Jumping and moving in multiple directions, that's your thing as a 3D platformer. It's a restricting concept that limits exploration and freedom that most platformers offer. And honestly, I can't think of a positive use to this feature. Sure, it makes you get the most use out of your costumes in the game. However, at the cost of being more tedious than fun, is it worth it? Again, another huge problem this game offers are the amount of costumes within the game. There are about 80. However, at the end of my playthrough, this is how many costumes I actually obtained. And personally speaking, you can beat this game with a fraction of the costumes. One of the most interesting ideas with Balan is the concept of backtracking. Throughout various levels, you may find some roadblocks from Balan statues that can't be obtained at your current point in time due to the costumes being in a different world altogether. So backtracking is encouraged to be able to get enough statues to progress through the story. It's not the most fun, but I suppose it works. However, it does reward players for paying attention to the little details throughout the game. After playing this game, I can think of a better idea of implementing the costume system. Like, imagine this. Imagine a costume hybrid idea. Like, imagine having all the ability to create your own hybrid costumes, like having a top piece, a middle piece, and a bottom piece of 3 different costumes, which allows you to mix and choose what powers you can use at each time. And you can dedicate X to be exclusively for jumping, triangle being for the top piece, circle being for the middle piece, and then X for the bottom piece. This would be really fun because it'll allow you to be able to create multiple different costumes with the convenience of having to switch over to different costumes and causing up more time and tediousness if you don't have an ability that you can actually jump with. This would make controlling Leo and Emma so much more fun and enjoyable in the levels, and be able to create some interesting puzzle dynamics that may require multiple costumes at the same time. But then again, that would possibly break the game or even make the game more fun. I'm not even too sure at this point. Now, there is one thing I did want to mention as well. This game is called Balan WonderWorld. So you may be imagining, Metallic, you're kind of complaining about Leo and Emma's character designs and creation and how you're executing the gameplay, but surely Balan must be a very fun aspect to play with the game, right? No, it's not. With Balan's abilities, he is a very powerful being from what it looks like in the entire game. However, his role is simply dedicated to what you would consider a mentor for the two characters, and also for some flashy quick-time event sections in the game with button commands. Now, I mean, imagining seeing these things once is fine, but this is the only time you ever get to control as Balan, and I gotta say, it's very underwhelming. I want to play as Balan, not Leo and Emma Cole. But it's okay, right? It's okay, I'm fine! Aside from the outdated game design, the levels themselves aren't very fun to explore. There's a lot of tediousness to this game just inputting in terms of execution and exploration. You are really limited in just your base form at the first start of the level generally, and you have to either find a Frost Fairy costume in a different world, or the costume in the world itself to be able to do much exploring. The levels feel a bit bland and uninspiring, and the amount of costumes and key drops in this game are not enough considering how much emphasis there are on using the costumes in each dedicated world. This game operates kind of like how the Sonic games works. You take damage without a costume and that's it, you're dead. And trust me, when you take damage and lose your costume, sometimes that's even worse than dying. There have actually been a few times in a game where I will lose a character's costume during a boss fight, get switched back to a costume that cannot jump, and only for me to literally be forced to take damage until I become back to my base form, and then try to finish the fight without a true means of doing so. And also, I checked last time, that's not very fun. That's not very fun at all. Another huge aspect to discuss would be the music, right? Does it hold up? I will admit, the music falls in one of two categories for me. One being, it's there and it's good enough. Or two being, oh, I've heard this about 3 to 5 times now. This is actually kind of good. Not many tracks really stood out to me in the same context as some other recent games I've been playing, such as Persona 5 or even Hollow Knight. I will admit though, considering the fact we got Laura Pitch Bullford, the same woman who voiced the singing version of Lillian from Dr. Stone, was a great touch. Her voice has a huge effect on some of the songs, and her performances were great in this game. Really gave life to the songs I've heard about 3 to 4 times now. At the end of each chapter, I should also mention once you complete it, you are treated to a music number with one of 3 songs, and after playing this game all the way through, you realize all the songs and choreography are very similar, if not fit in the same song structure.
When in count, we need sin cloud.
Now, with all that being said and done, we are getting to the point of hitting page 7 of this script. TLDR version, Balan WonderWorld is a hollow 3D platformer where it shies in having potential to be as fun as something like Mario Odyssey. I may be pushing it a bit too much. But they missed the mark on so many aspects and ended up the result trying to play it safe and keeping a one-button game control really faltered in a lot of fun that was missed. I picked this game up for about 20 bucks new. Here's the sticker to confirm my actual transaction. And my heart does go out to those who are really excited and purchase the game at full price on launch. However, even $20 is generous for what you are getting. Try to keep this purchase for at least $15 to $10, or if you really want to give it a shot, maybe hope it comes to Game Pass or something. At the end of the day, I'm not so much as mad, I'm just disappointed in this game and will probably never return to it again. Thank you for hearing me rant about this game for what seems to be about 14 minutes. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts on this game. Follow Metallic Aerox on social media, such as Twitter, where I announce where I stream live on Twitch, at twitch.tv/Metallic Aerox. And if you excuse me, I've got a coaster to enjoy.